Okay, sound check 1, 2, 3, and I hope naririnig ako ngayon. Okay, let's see. Okay, sa mga nanonood, just comment para malaman ko kung nanonood na kayo. So, live na ako ngayon. First comment dito sa ating chat party, sa live chat natin para makita ko kung sino sa inyo present na. So that we can start lecture. So, live na po tayo. Pasensya na at may karpintero dito. Naririnig yata yung kami. Meron na ba tayong mga viewers ngayon? Okay, wait lang natin. We still have 10 minutes before ako magsimula ng aking klase. So, game sir. Shoutout kay Harvey Kagunot ng Room 204. Yata ang viewer natin. Pasensya na, may kumakalampag talaga may kumakalampag dito ngayon, so pasensya na lang natin. So, mabagong connection namin yun, kaya pasensya nyo rin, you will be experiencing technical problems. Okay, comment lang po kapag nakatutok na kayo sa aking channel. So, sinend ko na sa inyo mga group chat yung link ng ating channel, yung ating video ngayon. Okay, good afternoon din, Koro Sensei Gaming. Sino man to? Kagunot ba to? I think, so, good din sa'yo. Okay. Yan, meron tayong 5 viewers. And I will start streaming. Chat lang kayo sa akin kung nakaka-experience kayo ng technical problems. Mabalimot namin ngayon. Okay. Good afternoon din kay Bara from 207. Okay. I think magsisimula na din tayo. So kung anumang ingay ang maririnig ninyo dito sa background, pagpasensyahan nyo na lang. Naririnig naman ako so far. Comment lang kayo kapag naririnig nyo ako. Okay. Hindi nag-play sa akin yung video ko. Okay, in 1 minute, magsisimot. Yung kaka-edit lang ng name. Ayun. So, si Barry Carpio pala to. So, yung Koro Sensei game is Mr. Carpio pala. Ayun. So, good afternoon everyone. Ayun. So, naka-view na din si Stin. At yun si Ryo. Nanonood na rin. Nakatutok na yan. We already have 2 concurrent. Okay. So I think we're ready to start. So that with 11 viewers lang tayo. Okay. For our topic for today, we'll be discussing the analysis of data. It's an introduction to data interpretation. And ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-crucial na part ng inyong research paper because you will be interpreting all the data that you have collected from your and matagal-tagal na trabaho to because it includes organizing of your data, categorization of your interpretation of your data, and much more. Dito na rin papasok yung pag-compute ninyo ng inyong mga statistic para ma-interpret ninyo ang inyong mga data. So, let us have a review. Ano nga ba yung data? So, chat lang kayo sa akin kung naririnig ninyo kasi hindi ko sure kung naririnig ko yung sarili ko. Okay, so data. Since PR1 hanggang MIL hanggang PR2 and kahit ngayon, pinag-uusapan natin data na ito. So data refer to individual facts and statistics collected, stored, and grouped together for analysis, interpretation, or so ito yung mga kokolektahin ninyo from your respondent. This will contain vital ideas na magagamit ninyo for you to answer the problems na naka-indicate dyan sa inyong statement of the problem. Now, these individual facts. Bakit individual facts? Because it will come from individual and independent samples. Galing sa kanila mismo intervention of anyone or anything. So it is stored, it's collected. It's collected and then it's stored, grouped together for annotation references. Kokolektahin nyo yan, kukunin nyo from your respondents, and then itatago ninyo for later retrieval. And then afterwards, if you are going to interpret, kung oras na para interpret nyo, and then that's the time that you're going to group those together, organize, and then categorize, and summarize, so that it will be easier for you to analyze the data, interpret the data, or search for references that would support data. So we have two types of data. First is the raw data, which refers to data that have not been changed. And then tanungin kung ano ba dapat talaga ang sagot niya dito. Is it ito or yan? So you correct the data for its errors. Now let's proceed with information. Now data alone, without interpretation, without analysis, it's meaningless. And once your data is interpreted, it will become information. So information are individual data grouped together to form a single fact or idea. So itong mga individual data na meron kayo, to combine those, you're going to collate the data, and then later on, meron na kayong firm basis sa kung ano man ninyo, and whatever the result of that interpretation will produce a single fact or an idea, or sabihin natin in short, information. So by the end of your data analysis, by the end of your data collection and then your data analysis, you'll be able to come up with information based on the data that you have collected. Now, in transforming these individual facts, we're going to undergo data analysis. Now, data analysis is the process of reading a processed data and turning it into an edible information. So your processed data meaningless, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, it's meaningless. However, it can become meaningful if you employ data analysis that process data into an information. Para ka lang nagluluto ng paborito mong pagkain. Sabi natin, nagluluto ka ng adobong mana. And what are your ingredients? You have your chicken, you have your soy, you have your vinegar, peppercorn, kung gusto mong ilagay. And then, iluluto mo yan. After mong iluto yung mga ingredients, after mong iluto yung manok, and together with it, you produce an adobo. So, ayan. Meron ka ng adobo, meron ka ng pwedeng kainin. Parang ganun din sa data na kung saan yung process data mo ay yung mga ingredients. So, yung mga process data na yan, nanggaling yan sa mga raw materials. Like for example, chicken, it came from a living chicken. Ayun, kinatay, and ayun, meron ka ng processed chicken. Ganun din sa soy sauce. It started with let's start with soya beans, I think, kung soya beans ang gagamitin ninyo. And then, process it para maging soy sauce. Then, vinegar, cane, or any materials na pre-process mo para maging suka. Then, this processed ingredients or this processed data will undergo cooking ingredients or this processed data will undergo cooking, which is yun, data analysis. Iluluto mo na yung ingredients mo dyan. And after na maluto, meron ka ng information. Data analysis. It is crucial. Data analysis summarizes collected data. Itong mga process data na nakuha mo, sabi ko nga, you're going to collate those so that it will become an information. Data analysis involves the interpretation of data gathered through the use of analytical and logical reasoning to determine patterns, relationships, so you're going to closely inspect the data that you have collected. You're going to determine whether there are patterns, there is a relationship with data. Anything na presented in a textual manner, anything na presented in a non-numerical manner, descriptive data. So, na-try nyo na siguro to nung inyong PR1, conducted interview, and ano ang naging output ninyo. It's a transcript view. And ano ang itsura nitong transcript na to? It's more on textual data. And itong textual data na to is under a qualitative data. Ano nga ba yung mga non-numerical data na meron tayo, di ba? Other than textual data, we have documents, we have pictures, we have audio, we have symbols. However, this data is very open to subjectivity since it came from an unrestricted form of collection. In other words, in a free-form data collection. So, kumbaga, dito sa unrestricted, libre ang inyong mga respondents na magsabi ng kanilang saloobin, magsabi ng kanilang opinions, and ayun. So, it's very open to bias kasi nga it came from their own personal opinions. And ganun din sa pag-investigate ng mga picture, no, it is based on how the researcher perceived or how the respondents perceived that type of data. So we have examples of qualitative data. So makikita ninyo dito sa mga pictures na to, 'di ba? Parang familiar siya. Ano nga ba na-observe niyo dito sa pictures na to? Ano ang meron dito sa mga clip arts na nandito? So let's give time for you to reflect. Human check nga tayo kung nakaka-receive pa ba kayo ng signal. I think mabagal ang signal. I think sabi nyo mabagal ang pasok ng signal sa inyo. Well, don't you worry, mahina rin ang connection namin ngayon. And mahina talaga ang internet connections ngayon kasi maraming gumagamit kasi nga nasa loob lang tayo, hindi sila lumalabas ng bahay. Thursday kayo. Yan. Okay, so anong na-observe ninyo dyan sa picture? Anong mga na-observe nyo dyan? Just write your comment dito sa video if nakikita ninyo. I'll give you time to think. So, yan. So, mula dito sa mga clip arts na to, makikita natin na these are of, or these are representations of non-numerical data. So we have ano ba example ng mga qualitative data? We have interview transcript, documents, we have photographs, we have audio, we have video, and other that does not that is not represented using numerical forms. So itong mga qualitative data na to, they are not dependent on figures. They are not dependent on they are more on non-numerical representations. Other types of data, qualitative data is symbols, mga objects like artifacts, yung mga simpleng bagay lang na pwedeng mapulot like bato. Can observe those data. Those are non-numerical data. Anything na hindi number is non-numerical data. Now, qualitative data is different from a quantitative data since it analyzes text, objects, multi-descriptions, symbols, and other non-number-based data. It is focused on finding patterns within a collected data. Ang qualitative data is more on looking for themes. They do not look for relation, not look for cause, but qualitative data aims to understand something using non-numerical. It's focused on finding patterns. Anong patterns ito? Yung sinabi ko is themes. Ano yung magkakapareho sa bawat individual data? Ano ang magkakapareho sa kanilang idea, sa kanilang context, sa kanilang design, or sa kanilang appearance, or even sa word use, sa kanilang tunog, and other characteristics na pwede nating tingnan sa mga non-numerical objects. And oftentimes, researchers rely on word-based methods to find common patterns within the data. Itong word-based patterns, ano yung madalas na sabihin ng mga respondents? For example, sa interview, gusto mong malaman ano ba yung sa tingin ng mga respondents mo, ano yung dahilan ng kahirapan. So, titignan mo yung mga words na sasabihin nila. Like for example, lumabas yung kawalan ng trabaho, or kawasyon, yung mga words na yan, pwede nating masabi na these are patterns na nag-occur doon sa individual data na nakolekta mo. We found by looking at the repetitive words or even ideas. Tingnan yung kanilang idea na nandoon nakapaloob sa kanilang mga dataset. These are themes. So, itong mga themes na to, ito yung mga pagkakapareho, ito yung mga parallel ideas na lumabas in individual and independent dataset. Ano yung common sa kanilang mga ano yung common dun sa data na nakuha mo, na nakolekta mo? Now, remember, these data are individual and these are independent. So, iba ang perception ng isang sample from another sample sa isang respondent at sa isa pang sample. Magkakaiba yan. Pwede nating makita ang similarity and differences ng dalawang dataset na to. Now, researchers may use keywords in analyzing common patterns within the data. Similar to word-based method, keywords also the words that are used by the respondents. However, these keywords are not necessarily the literal na ginamit ng mga respondent. Like, it can be something, it can be a word that may refer to the context of what you're looking for. Like, for example, ang study mo is, again, patungkol sa poverty. Now, ano ba yung mga na pwedeng konektado kay poverty? So, for example, poverty can be connected with hunger, connected with being poor, it can be connected with someone who doesn't have any decent living. Anything na pwedeng connect poverty can be used as a keyword. Moreover, comparing the similarities and differences within a data group is an example of analyzing qualitative data. So, ano yung pagkakapareho sa bawat data na nakolekta mo at magkakaiba dun sa data na nakolekta mo. So, pwede mo siyang gamiting basis sa pag-a-analyze ng isang data. So, we have qualitative data methods. So, ito yung mga paraan nyo, ano yung mga pwede ninyong hitin para i-analyze ang inyong qualitative data. So, we start with content analysis, documentations, objects, symbols, and multimedia. Ang application ng content analysis is that this to inspect pre-established data. Ito yung mga data na hindi mo kailangang gawan ng data collection, hindi mo kailangang gawan ng questionnaires or ng interview transcript. Nandyan na yan in the beginning. Ang kailangan mo na lang gawin is ask for permission para access tong documentations na to or tong object, tong symbol and multimedia na to. And then, saka mo i-inspect ron dyan sa document na yan. Then we have narrative analysis. So, the narrative analysis is focused on people's opinions. Ang narrative analysis naman ay base sa kung ano yung naisalaysay ng inyong mga respondents. So, most likely dito lalabas yung perceptions or yung kanilang pananaw. Ano ang tingin nila sa bagay na to? Anong tingin nila sa problem na to? Or dito rin lalabas yung kanilang mga opinions. What do they think about this? How would they respond that? And other common questions na pwede nyo itanong sa mga interview. And then we have discourse analysis. This is the analysis of interactions and conversations in between your samples. Similar to narrative analysis na focused sa perceptions and opinions, the discourse analysis also aims to determine underlying themes in between conversations and interactions in between people. So, ito namang discourse analysis, ang ina-analyze niya is yung mga ideas na lumabas sa mga respondents when they are conversing with another. So, this can be a one-to-one conversation or one-to-many conversation. Maganda because there is an interaction between two samples which would give you more insights and ideas with regards to the topic na pinag-uusapan ninyo. Itong discourse analysis, usually pwede siyang gamitin kapag mayroong focus group discussion. Like, na-discuss ko last time na focus group discussion, it's a simultaneous interview. And doon sa interview na yon, pwedeng suportahan nung isa or kontrahin nung isa yung notion na binigay nung isang. So, magkakaroon yan ng conversation. And that conversation can be analyzed through discourse analysis. And then we have grounded theory. This provides an explanation to a certain phenomenon. This is the theoretical type of the qualitative. So, grounded theory will allow the researcher to formulate a theory that will explain why a certain phenomenon is happening. So, bakit? Ano yung mga explanation? Base dito sa observation ko na to, ano yung mga possible na explanation? Kaya itong phenomenon na to, bakit nangyayari itong event na to? So, for example, you want to analyze, baka ang inyong gusto nyo, nag-freeze, mabagal ang internet ngayon, Kirby, kaya nag-freeze ang ating screen. Pero don't worry, maglo-load din yan. Bagal kasi ang net natin ngayon kasi sabay-sabay na gumagamit ng mga tao ngayon. Nasa loob lang sila ng bahay, wala silang magawa, di naman sila makapag-lakwatsa. So, bali pa. So, shout out tayo kay Kirby na palaging nag-freeze ang na shout out din, nag-freeze din ang kanilang screen, sabi naman ni Barry. Hindi, sabi ni Charles, defrost mo daw. Mr. Delogio. Ito tayo sa ibang section. Shout dito naman kay Larry na kagigising lang at mabagal din ang signal sa kanilang bahay. Yan. Kahit kay kabunot, wala na. Mahina na. Ayan. Din sa aking mga students from PBM Room 206 na wala yatang load. Katulad nga ng sinabi ko, huwag kayong mag-alala, pwede ninyong balikan. Ayan. Kumusta ang aking PBM 206? Pagpasensya nyo na mabagal talaga ang internet ngayon, hindi lang sa inyo, pati sa akin din, yung bagal ngayon ng internet. Actually, dalawang internet connection ang kinokonekan ko. Pahinto-hinto. Yung bagal ng net natin, iha. Ayan. Well, anyway, pwede nyo namang balikan yung discussion natin pag stable na ulit ang ating connection. Siguro magpapalit ako ng oras kung saan mas mabilis ang internet. Baka gawin kong umaga ang ating. So, lahat ng connection, PLDT man or Glow, mahina ngayon ang connection. So, and anyway, kaya pa na internet niyo, just follow the lead. So, proceed na tayo sa susunod na part, which is quantitative data. So, quantitative data are any data that are expressed in numbers and figures. These are all called data. Lahat ng mga data na kumukuha ng forma as a number or as a figure, as a rational or irrational number, fraction, these are all quantitative data. So, alam naman natin ng mga numbers, di ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We count to 10. Yan. And those numbers are quantitative in nature. And this type of data can be distinguished into categories. They can be grouped. They are most likely measured. Pinaka-characteristic ng isang quantitative data, it has the ability to be measured. Also, it can be calculated or it can be ranked. Okay? The numbers will determine kung nasa ang rank mahuhulog ang isang dataset. So, for example, ang inyong quantitative data, if your data is measurable like weight, height, speed, circumference, most likely, yung mga data na yan ay quantitative. Kasi kung sila, di ba? For example, ito, we have this ruler here. Mapapansin niyo bakit may numbers ang ruler. Bakit numbers sila? Because these mediums of measurement. And the measures are expressed in numbers. Kung makita ninyo, saan kayo nakakita ng ruler na A, B, C, D? No, they are not numbers. They are not quantitative in nature. So, you have to use numbers for you to measure. And yun nga, if you are able to measure using numbers, then most likely that is quantitative data. And then another example, if your data is countable, like the number of times you went to somewhere, the number of awards that you have, number of trainings that you have, the number of live birth, number of mortality, ilan ang namatay, ang pera ngayon na nasa bulsa mo. Those are all expressed in a form of numbers. Those are quantitative. Kasi pwede mo silang mabilang. Saan ka nakahanap ng tao nagbibilang, ang pagbibilang niya? A, B, C, D. No, wala kang nakitang ganong tao. Everyone is using numbers. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 69, 690, 6,900, 6,000. Lahat yan gumagamit ng numbers, and those are quantitative. So, if your data is numerical in nature, like age, your ranking, mga rank 1 dyan, shout out sa ating mga rank 1 ngayong third quarter, the cost, magkano yung binayad, magkano yung sinukli sa'yo, magkano yung discount na binigay sa'yo, magkano ang utang mo, your scores, yung ilan na exam, ilan ang nakuha mo nung nag-quiz, ilan yung nakuha mo nung nagkaroon ng assignment, and anything that involves numbers are quantitative data because they are countable, they can be ranked, they can be measured. Now, quantitative data involves the levels of measurement. Ba itong levels of measurement na to? Well, isa to sa mga masakit sa ulo. Levels of measurement. Pero let's try to simplify this. Na-explain ko na sa inyo to last quarter and i-review lang natin kung ano to. So we have nominal, ordinal, and interval ratio, and these are defined as the 4 fundamental levels of measurement scales that are used to capture data in surveys and questionnaire, each being a multiple choice question. So these measurements are all quantitative. They involve the use of numbers. Now let's start with nominal level. The nominal level is the lowest form of measurement. So also called numerical variables, these are descriptions or labels without logical order and may be recorded as text or assigned with a numerical code. Now, nominal of measurement is a quantitative data that does not use or that does not appear as a quantitative data kasi these are name variables. This is named measurement. This is categorical measurement. And itong nominal level na to is it is recorded as a text. Ibig sabihin nag-a-appear siya as a numerical. However, you can assign numerical code to it so that if you're going to make calculations, then pasok yung quantitative data. Yun ang kay nominal level. So the nominal level is category. Kaya mo bang i-categorize yung iyong data? Can the data be categorized? So if the data can be categorized, then most likely it is in the nominal level. For example, meron tayong mga categories dito, di ba? For example, sex. We have either male or female. Then we have grade 11 or grade level. That's the nominal level. For strand, di ba? We have STEM, PBM, GAS, TVL Maritime, TVL HE, ICT. Those are the different categories na meron tayo. And kung mapapansin niyo siyang numbering because yan yung naka-assign na number sa kanila. And like I said, this is the lowest level of measurement because ang tinitingnan mo lang is yung frequency kung ilan sa kanila, ganito, ganyan. And kung makita nyo, nakakategorize na sila into different categories. Now, punta tayo sa ordinal measurement. So, these measurements are arranged in order. Ordinal level of measurement focuses on the order of data. Siya, merong order. Meron na siyang category. But at the same time, the ranking or the order of the data is given an importance here. However, the intervals in between variables are not equal. So, for example, alam natin 100 is higher than 99 and higher than 97. Pero yung interval between 199 and 197 ay hindi pareho, di ba? For example, yung 100, ilan ang interval nila with 9? You only have one interval there. How about 197? So, meron tayong ranking doon. Mas mataas pa rin si 100 kaysa kay 97. Pero yung interval ay iba na. Hindi na pareho doon sa number. So, 100, 99, 97, 95. Magkaiba na yung kanilang mga interval. Kung si 199, 1 ang interval niya. Kay 107 naman, 3 ang interval niya. Yung interval ni 97 at saka ni 95, magkaiba rin. 2 din ang kanyang interval. So, wala kang makikitang equal interval sa ganitong klaseng data. So, if there is no equal interval, and therefore, that is in the ordinal level. Kasi yung rank lang ang tinitingnan mo, binibigyan mo din. So, this is applied in the following. So, your status at your workplace, tournament teams, order of product quality, and order of agreement or satisfaction. Usually, yung mga questionnaire ninyo ngayon na that deals with the level of awareness, level of satisfaction, those are in the ordinal level. For example, yung alam natin na mas mataas ang very satisfied kaysa kay satisfied. And then alam natin na logical order niyan is very satisfied. And then susunod, satisfied, pababa ng pababa. Moderately satisfied, and then slightly satisfied, and then dissatisfied. So, ang problema dito ay magkaiba ang kanilang, hindi pwedeng sabihin na yung interval ng very satisfied at saka satisfied ay pareho din dun sa very satisfied and moderately satisfied. No, magkaiba na ang kanilang order. Diba, yung isa lang ang pagitan ni very satisfied tapos ni satisfied. Yan, magkasunod yan. So, let's take that as one interval. By very satisfied at saka kay moderately satisfied, magkaiba na yung kanilang order. Iba na yung interval niya. So, hindi na sila equal with the other categories. Ngayon, kung bigyan ng equal interval yung inyong mga data, you have to go with the interval level. So, the interval scale is defined as a numerical scale where the order of variables is known as well as the difference is variables. So, for example, yung interval na 10, 20, and then 20 and 30, di ba? Meron na siya 20, 30, 30, 40, 40, 50. Alam natin na ang kanilang interval is 10, di ba? 10, 20, 30, 40, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. Meron nang nakaset na interval in between these values. However, there is no pre-deciding point of true zero value. So, ibig sabihin, wala tayong starting point at yung zero na nandyan sa yung data doesn't necessarily mean na absence of something. Zero absence when it comes to interval level. So, for example, di ba, 30 and 40 is seen with the interval na 10, 30 and 40. Ngayon, kay 80 and 90, they have the same interval. Well, that is 10. Tignan nyo to. Yung 0 dito sa interval level natin, it does not see starting point. And unlike the ratio measurement, ang 0 ay hindi nagsasabing or hindi niya sinasabing absent itong bagay na to. So, in an interval level, the intervals have the same interpretation. So, katulad sinabi ko kanina, yung 10 and 20, and yung 80 and 90, they have the same interpretation of the interval, which is, they have an interval of 10. So, ibitan ng dalawang value na to ay 10. And 0 does not represent any less. Ang pinaka-classic na example ng isang interval level ay yung temperature. Temperature does not have any value since both positive and negative values exist. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na yung 0 indicates that there is temperature. No, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin yan. 0 has a meaning, and that, historically speaking, ang 0 denotes the freezing point of a water. Also, we can infer that 0 is greater than negative 1. Ayun, papasok na naman tayo dun sa rank order. So 0 is greater than -1 but less than 1 degree. So other examples of interval level, intelligence quotient. Okay, imposibleng magkaroon ng 0 na intelligence quotient. Yun ang aalala. It's impossible because everyone is born with an IQ. Lahat tayo meron tayong capabilities of learning. We all have this of thinking, even at its lowest form. Even retarded people or those who are, sabihin natin, they still have the capability to think rationally. However, in a very low intelligence quotient. And then we have the geniuses, very high amounts of IQ, and it can still go beyond the highest recorded IQ. Pero there's 0. So the 0 is non-existent in an intelligence quotient if there is no true 0 value, and that is in level. Moreover, it is possible for a test score not to reach the 0 point. Wait lang. So yun, it's not possible. It is or it's possible that it's possible na hindi ka makakarating ng isang 0 point value. Pag nag-exam ka, meron ka makukuha at least 1. Unless hindi mo sinagutan, then that's the time you get 0. But in nature, scores should not reach 0. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na 0 is the of a score. Meron pa ring score yan. None nga lang. And then we have ratio. So this time the ratio has all the properties that a categorical or a nominal level, ordinal and interval level has. Ang key feature lang na meron kay ratio na wala sa lahat is that it has a true 0, wherein 0 position is equivalent to absence of something. So this is the only time na masasabi natin ay nangangahulugang wala talaga. Unlike the other kanina, kapag sinabi natin walang meaning kay interval. Pero dito kay ratio level, may meaning na. There's already a true meaning for 0, and that 0 equals absence of something. For example, the money in your pocket. Pwede nating sabihin 0 ang iyong money sa pocket, interpreted as wala kang pera. So 0 money refers to no money. Parang kayo ngayon, allowance ngayon pumapasok, wala naman kayong pasok ngayon, kaya wala rin kayong allowance. So 0 money ang meron kayo ngayon dyan sa inyong mga pitaka. So ratio level, for example, if you have 0 money, it means that you have no money. The cases of COVID in La Union, which is, I am happy to say na wala pa namang case. So 0 means there's none. So you can also say that someone who has twice as much with those who has 50 pesos. Kaya nga ratio ito, ang pagsing ratio, ilan yung number na meron sa isang number. So hindi ko ma-explain na mabuti ito because I am math major, pero this is how I understand this. So for ratio level, we can also say that if a data has this value, then it has twice or thrice or 4 times the value of this data. Ratio level does not have any negative values. It always starts with 0. So laging 0 mula niyan. Meron siyang starting point, unlike the interval level. So other examples, what is your height in inches? You have less than 5 feet. You have 5 feet 1 to 5 feet 5 inches, 5 feet 6 inches to 6 feet. Then from lowest to from smallest to tallest. So yun yung order niya. And then meron ba tayong interval dito? Tayong interval. So we have the interval here is 5. So 5 feet 1 inches, 5 feet 2 inches, 5 feet 4 inches, and then 5 feet 5 inches. And then the next interval, 5 feet 6 inches, 5 foot 7, 5 foot 8, 5 foot 9. meron mali dito sa data na to kasi dapat kwanto by 6 dapat to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeah, may mali dito sa data na to but anyway, this is just for representation. And then more than 6 feet alalanin natin that the height our height is for 12 inches, that's equivalent to 1 feet. So dapat ito 5 feet, 6. So that's 6 interval. And then start siya 5 foot 7. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 6 feet or 12. That's equivalent to 6 feet already. And then more than 6 feet. Okay. So do you have any clarification? So check natin yung mga chat ninyo. Kung meron kayong mga katanungan or may mga gustong magpa-shoutout. Ayan, zero money equals curvy. Sorry. Lucky number natin, 69. Shoutout kay Mr. Valdez na mahilig sa number na 69 because sabi nga ni Davey 504 is a magical number. Kawawa naman Mr. Nabor ng store na nakabukas pero uso naman na ngayon ang online na pagpapaload. Chat mo lang yung magpapaload sa'yo and na lang pag pwede na lumabas. Huwag mo lang kakalimutan na yung utang mo Mr. Nabor. Ayan, shoutout sa'yo. Mga dito yung barangay ni so meron talaga mga barangay ngayon na nagsara and kinakailangan mo ng permit bago ka makalabas and hindi lahat ng lumabas kasi one person per household lang ang pwedeng lumabas. Check naman natin si room 204. So far wala namang nag-chat. Ewan ko may viewers pa 204. Anyway, so tayo na lang tayo pagod na ako. Sakit ko sa lalamunan. Ayan. Ayan, shoutout talaga kayo dito pag nandito. Ayan. Okay. So proceed na tayo dito sa susunod. We are now in the methods in quantitative data analysis. Huwag kayong mag-alala guys, patapos na din ako dito sa aking live stream kasi hindi rin kaya ng internet namin ngayon. Sobrang bagal din mga internet connections dito sa aming compound. Okay, we have two types or we have two methods in quantitative data analysis. We have descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Na-discuss ko na din to sa inyo guys. So I'm going to just give you a summary of this. So statistics gives information that describes the data for the entire group. It presents the data in such a way that its pattern is making sense. Ang descriptive statistics more on the presentation of the data that you have collected. So you're going to present it through a table or through a chart, through a bar graph, or any types of data presentation tools na pwede ninyong gamitin. Descriptive statistics, ang purpose nito is to make the data more readable and easier for the readers to read. Like this is the in making your raw data into a processed data. So meron tayong iba't ibang methods. We start talking about the different methods in descriptive statistics. Now, I want to share the importance of the descriptive statistics. Now, the descriptive statistics, like what I have said, it will help your readers read the data that you have collected. It is a way of your raw data into a processed data. And so, yung raw data na yan, meaningless yan, and at the same time, it is very chaotic. Bakit? Hindi mo siya Imagine mo, you have your all data, yan, andyan yung data, tapos yan na yung sasalpak mo sa yung research paper, and bahala si reader, isa-isahin na lang niya yan. As a researcher, you have to summarize the data that you have collected, and descriptive statistics will help you summarize that, and these are the methods that you can use. So first is the measures of frequency. Ngayon, kung ang tanong mo ay what is the profile of the respondent, what is the score of the what is the what are the available materials, the available tools and equipment in the mock sheet, mga ganon, or what are the available tools in the library. Kung ang ginagawa mo or ang tanong mo requires you to count how many observations occurred, then you're going to use measures of frequency like counting or frequency count. Percentage count, pwede mong gamitin yan, frequency counting. So it is used to how often a particular event occurs, how dapat yan. So it is used to denote how often a particular researchers use it when they want to showcase how many or how often a response is given. For example, dun sa sex, meron tayong dalawang options dun. It's either male or female. So, if you're going to employ frequency count, how many times did the respondents chose male, or how many times do they chose female as their option for sex? Or how many of the students are in grade 11? How many of the students grade 12? Usually, ang descriptive itong frequency counting, itong measures of frequency, it asks how many, ilang beses lumabas yung observation na yan. So that's for measures of frequency. Next is the measures of central. So napag-aralan nyo na to nung inyong statistics and probability class. The measures of central tendency. Saan gigitna o gitna nung data? Ano yung central value nung data na na-collecta mo? Method is widely used to demonstrate the distribution by various points. And for this time, it's the central point we're looking. Researchers use this method when they want to showcase the most commonly or averagely indicated response. Ang pinaka napupunta sa pinakagitna, or what is indicated response? Ano yung maraming beses na lumabas? Anong response ang maraming beses lumabas? Or for example, anong score ang madalas na lumabas doon sa iyong distribution of data? Then we have weighted mean. This is a special type of measure of central tendency. So the weighted mean or the weighted arithmetic mean on ordinary weighted mean, except that instead of each of the data points contributing equally to the final average, some data points contribute more than others. Dito mo makikita kung anong specific indicator ang nakamabigat na contribution doon sa final average. Titignan mo kung saan saan yung scores ng iyong data collection. Diba? For example, we have 15 indicator questionnaire. Sinong indicator ngayon ang may pinakamataas at may pinakamababang distribution ng point? For example, si indicator 8, 4.58 out of 5. O siya may pinakamarami na siya may pinakamaraming observations na nag-respond dito sa indicator na to. So weighted mean, gagamitin nyo yan if you're talking about the level of the level of acceptability, level of addiction. Yung mga usually question number 2 ninyo will use weighted mean. So measures or variation like range, variance, or standard deviation talks about how scattered data is. Nandito siya nakalagay. So researchers use this method to showcase data spread out. It helps them identify the depth until which the data is spread out that it directly affects the mean. So gaano kalawak ng mga scores. Kasi yung dispersion, yung pagkakahiwa-hiwalay o yung pagkakalapit-lapit ng mga scores ninyo, maka-apekto yan doon sa final mean ng inyong data. So that's measures of dispersion. Measures of position naman, like the percentile ranks, quartile ranks, mostly saan lang nakapwesto yung iyong score. Yun ang pinaka main point nitong measures of position. Is it part of the low tier score? Is it part of a quartile 1, yung pinakamababa, of quartile 4, yung pinakamataas? Nasa ang percentile rank siya? Is it higher than 60% of the scores? It is often used when researchers want to compare scores with the average count. For example, kalayo yung score mo sa actual na average score. Is it less than the average score or is it greater than that? Kung quartile yan, i-divide natin sa 4 yung mga scores. Nasa ang quartile ka? Usually, ang mean sa quartile, in between quartile 2 and quartile 3. So, nasaan ka? Nasa higher quartile ka ba or nasa lower quartile? Sa percentile ranks, usually, nasa 50% yan. Percentile ranks, the mean is at the 50. So, are you in the upper 50% or are you in the lower 50%? Okay, so you already have now you have the tool to present your data. You have the tool to summarize your data. Now it's time for you to interpret using inferential statistics. Now, inferential statistics compares groups, tests hypotheses, and makes prediction about a population. It gathers a sample that is randomly selected. So this time, eto na yung manghihila ng conclusion, manghihila ng inference based on the data that you have presented. Ito na yung sasagot or ito na yung magko-confirm doon sa yung hypothesis. So the inferential statistics will determine whether you're going to accept or reject your hypothesis. So let's define some terms here. So parametric statistical test about the characteristics of a population.